Hello everybody, welcome back to Revive. This week we're going to be talking about the changes that came in the Fiora patch. First off is Alistair, so DOI, why don't you take it away?
Alright, so Alistair this week, he was nerfed and buffed kind of at the same time. His Triumphant Roar mana cost was increased again, but like the mana cost on his ult was lowered, and the damage on his trample, which is whenever he casts spells and goes over something, it deals damage on it instead of him getting blocked. And I definitely think like this change was needed because Alistair could still spam heal a lot. But now I think like to kind of compensate for him having to heal for the heal to have a lot more mana, his ult will have lower mana. So even if he has to spam the heck out of his heal, he'll still be in like the oh crap situation. I'm gonna die, but I have the mana to ult instead of having like 148 because you're just like darn it, I just used my heal, so now I'm gonna die. But I think this was good and definitely needed it.
Yeah, for sure. A little more harassment on him. A little more harassment-y focus, like
Yeah.
he's really supposed to be, honestly. Really cool. Fizz got changed a little bit. His base damage actually went up by 2. His armor per level did go up by a little bit as well, so this will help out for against AD champs. And Shum the Water's mana cost went down. Same thing with Alistair's ult. This is a little more, yay, I have the mana to use it. But the base damage, really interesting. Might be actually there to help him jungle, which is really, really interesting, because
Yeah,
Jungle Fizz is kind of a thing right now.
it works. I mean, his passive helps him out a lot with that. You take the points to say I take less damage from neutral creeps and just less incoming damage. It works. I mean, it's not amazing because you don't have any CC, but he has a high burst, so if you can like fill your lanes with a little bit of CC, like a Scion top and a Taric bot, I think it could be good.
It's really, really interesting. Just a little bit of a tweak here. Try to bring Fizz back into the meta, because Fizz has fallen out of the meta.
Yeah, because that huge nerf he got from his damage, and I mean he needed it. I
He
wish they
did.
didn't because he was one of my favorite champs when he came out, but I'd rather have a balanced game than a broken one.
Yeah, the Lux changes, of course, as you all know from the patch preview, not actually too big. They really weren't.
Definitely more of an aesthetic choice, I think, really, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a lot more CC built-in wards because now the ball actually actually grants vision while it's traveling.
Yeah,
Her ult does too, which
that's cool.
on a 40-second cooldown, yeah, you're going to be looking at that line a lot.
I definitely feel like this helps her go more into the support role too, because now she has more of a built-in ward system, just like Maokai and Teemo do. So I think that's a really cool idea. And I can
Yeah.
definitely see her as more of a support role now, because built-in wards are kind of good, I hear.
Yeah, definitely with that Lucent Singularity change as well, because now she can really leave it out there and let it slow like it's supposed to,
Yeah,
really, instead of just double tapping it, getting that damage out, so it can go right back on cooldown again.
yeah, which was a big problem and a big issue. I mean, like V your stun circle, the cooldown started right as it was casted,
No,
not when it ended, and that was
yeah,
kind of hard for her.
it's really nice. A lot of quality of life improvements
Yeah,
on Lux. So yeah, really big buff on Olaf, as you guys saw.
he's good now. Like his late game is no longer complete crap. It's jumped to he can carry a team in my opinion. I
It's
think he
straight up
can.
good. That axe throw hits like a truck. And Ragnarok, with the armor magic resist, he's really just building 80 health. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's all he
80 health.
needs.
That's all he really needs.
Kind of like Rammus. Well, Rammus you build armor for his passive, but you know what I mean. Or Rammus just builds armor. That's all he
Yeah,
really needs to do, and then he gets all his MR from his defense scroll.
you
That's
build. It's really. It's wow. He might be a little too strong. Not our place to say,
yeah.
but we really feel it's maybe a little too strong.
Yeah, just like a lot of the newer champs they've been coming out, or not the newer champs coming out with, but the revamping a lot of the older champs, they've gotten really strong. Like top solo Warwick's really hard to shut down if he gets fed.
Shen just went insane after that buff.
Right, they had to hot fix him because it was just so powerful.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Riot trying to bring champs back into the meta after they've fallen out,
Yeah,
but they're just a little too strong right now. So it might be brought down a little bit. Teemo had a little, really tiny change, but it's really cool. His health per level went up, so he's a little less squishy. But the big thing is his Mushroom's arm time went to 1 second from
yeah,
2 seconds.
that's actually a really cool idea. It's definitely a better escape tool now, I think.
It is. You can use it a little more in team fights as well because it's a little easier to keep a whole team in one place for 1 second than it is for two. Definitely, we're definitely going to see mushrooms used a lot more actively as opposed to just setting them all up and as wards and just having people run into them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. The Ziggs tweak,
Oh yeah,
definitely
he
needed.
definitely. His burst was insane, and those bombs did a massive amount of damage for a crowd for more of a zoning tool than anything else, and they did a lot of damage for that. It was kind of weird, and now it's definitely much more of a tool to be used as zoning, in my opinion, instead of doing a whole lot of damage. It still helps him get his combo off, which is good, but still, I definitely enjoy seeing this a lot more as a zoning tool than I do as a damage. What about you, Nemes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it originally just was you drop down the mines, you do your whole combo, and they really can't get away because of that slow and the amount of damage that those mines were doing. Now, this really does put Minefield where it feels it right, intended it to be, a nice zoning tool, keeping them out of last hit range, keeping junglers away from you so you can back off. It's really definitely needed. It really does fall into where it's supposed to go now. A lot of very interesting general changes. As I'm sure a lot of you have noticed already, important items purchased by your team are now actually called out in chat.
I think
So
it helps out in solo queue a lot.
it really does. In a fixed team environment, you're not really going to notice it because y'all are calling out when you're buying Bloodthirsters or Vision Wards or Sight Wards anyway. But definitely, if you have one or two random people,
Yeah.
it's gonna help.
Yeah, and if people start accusing, saying that if you're the support or the jungler and they're like, you didn't buy wards, we're losing because of this, you can just scroll in the chat now and be like, I did my job, bro.
You can be like, look, Wards.
I think that'll help out the support players a lot in not taking the blame all the time like they do in solo queue.
Oh yeah, a really awesome change that I love is that champions will now run home after disconnecting instead of
Oh
recalling.
yeah, that's a lot better, I think. Keeps
It's
people alive, doesn't give out first blood as much as it used to.
it does. I mean, disconnects happen when you're playing an online game. It just happens, and with a recall, you're standing in the middle of a lane. Your champion's trying to recall. You're being hit on by everything, and an enemy champ can just walk up, kill you, free gold.
Yeah.
This really helpful. You're gonna run by towers now, so it should stay alive a little longer.
Keep
I
people.
love this.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think this is definitely a quality of life change that was necessary and appreciated.
For sure. And how about them jungle changes there,
Oh
do
god,
I?
I'm so glad they changed this jungle. I mean, now because invading's gotten a lot more popular, I've seen, and now if you lose your blue, it doesn't matter so much because you're getting a little bit of health back from the jungle and a little bit of mana, which makes it so much easier. And when if you're like a AP champ who's really blue dependent on their clearing the jungle with their abilities, now it's not as bad. Like you can give out blue and it won't matter so much to you.
Yeah, definitely needed. I mean, poor Fiddlesticks, terrible jungler right now.
Yeah.
He's very blue dependent. Might see him come back a little bit, might not sure. I know this really helped out Skarner.
It really helped out Skarner and Udyr and I think Nautilus. And if you jungle Fizz, just we were saying earlier, it really help out those guys.
It did. I mean, this was a really nice change. It's not so it takes the focus away from blue. Blue is still a really awesome buff, really cool to give it to, but as DY was saying, you can now give out blue a little more freely without having to worry about, oh my god, my jungle is fail now.
Yep.
And the small golem camp was changed for them AD carries, huh?
Oh yeah, them. So like what a lot of AD carries were doing, if you guys didn't know about this, was that they'd start off. If you were bot left, you'd take your jungler's golems because by the time he'd get to them, they'd been respawning, And now it definitely feels like the AD carry can't kite them without taking any damage or little damage, and they'll get caught and take a lot more damage, and they'll have to pay for that extra 70 gold and experience. So I feel like this buff was needed, even though it's like it doesn't affect the junglers at all, but it was definitely for that AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, this is really one of those, you happen to spawn in bot left. Cool, you immediately have an advantage over the opponent's AD carry. It really wasn't working.
Yeah.
So this is a cool change. It really is. It just shuts that down. And I would like to lightly touch on the co-op VAI changes, which is really cool. They're still working on co-op VAI, which I really like. The bots now last hit better. They push less. They call for each other's help more. Skill shots are a little more precise. So are the AoE abilities. And on top of that, they added another bot to co-op VAI.
And who did they add, Nemes?
They added Blitzcrank, so yeah, when you're playing co-op VAI, Predate grabbed, rocket grab, man.
That thing's OP. Just joking.
I really do like this change. I mean, the fact that Riot's actively working on the AI really feels like they're trying to do what Dota 2 is, which is where the co-op VAI is actually a good place to train, as opposed to here's free XP, here's free IP. It's really cool, and we've actually seen a bot added to the roster every patch since we did this change. So this really makes me think that Riot's trying to go ahead and add the entire champion list to co-op VI, which would be really cool because now you just get that diversity, which is something that makes PvP really good.
It's a lot of fun, you know. I mean, I feel like they're also trying to make the AI more of a challenge, you know, because I've had friends. My brother personally, he's like level 30 right now, but he's only ever played against bots. He's never played any PvP. And I tell him not to play PvP because it's, you know, the bots aren't near as good as actual players at that level. So I definitely feel like the bots are going to get a lot better, so they prepare people much better for PvP than they used to.
Definitely. It's really cool. Like to see them work on the AI a little more. Maybe we can see some rudimentary jungling and strategies out of the co-op VAI bots.
Yeah, I would think that would be really cool to have jungling bots. You know, make it a real, like...
Make it a real game.
Yeah, make it a legit game.
Really cool changes this patch. I agree with pretty much all of these.
Yeah.
So we'll catch you for the champion review of Fiora.
Yep, we'll see you guys there.
See you guys later.